The Bible records in the 40th numbers of Psalm, 40th numbers of Psalm, verses 1, 2, and 3. From the Life Application Bible for your hearing, it says, I waited patiently for the Lord to help me, and he turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the pit of despair and out of the mud in the mire. He set my feet on a solid ground and steadied me as I walked along. He has given me a new song to sing, a hymn of praise. Many will see what he has done and be amazed. They will put their trust in the Lord. My brothers and sisters, I'd like to choose just a short subject and just for a few minutes, trusting the process. My brothers and sisters, everything that's in this life in which we live has to go through a process. Meat have to go through a processing plant. Clothes have to go through a processing plant. Everything that we see and that have been created had to go through a processing plant. Those chairs that you're sitting in had to go through a processing point, processing factory. And these cars that we're driving each and every day had to go through a processing plant in order for them to be processed the way that they needed to be processed. And my brothers and sisters, our lives is none different than that. Our lives have to go through a process. And through those processes of life, my brothers and sisters, there will be some hills that we'll have to climb. There'll have to be some mountains that we would have to go over. There will be some valley experiences that we would have to go through. There will be some dark times that we won't be able to see our way through. The author of our text on this day, David, he was a man that was good at going through the process. It was David that said in the 23rd numbers of Psalm, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. David had to go through a process of darkness in his life, a process that he could have lost his life. And my brothers and sisters, there's some of you up under the sound of my voice have went through some processes in your life where you could have lost your life. But glory be to God that God have kept us to a place in our life that we didn't lose our life. We could have lost our mind. We could have been somewhere else than where we're at right now. But my brothers and sisters, I'm so glad that when trouble rises in my life, I'm so glad that when I find myself in dark places in life, I'm so glad that when I find myself through circumstances and situations of life, I'm so glad that God said in his word that he will never leave me nor forsake me. I'm so glad that he's there with me all the time. I just wonder, is it anyone up under the sound of my voice have found themselves in a process situation that they didn't want to go through? For my brothers and sisters, I want to let you know that sometimes processes of life come through in order to make you strong. But the Bible declares that they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up as wings of an eagle, run, not get weary, and walk and not faint. Sometimes, my brothers and sisters, we got to understand that this life that we're dealing with, sometimes we have to cry in the midnight hour. But you have to understand that it's just the process. Sometimes, my brothers and sisters, sometimes we have to be in a situation where the finances are not just right. Sometimes it seems like we're trying to rob Peter in order to pay Paul. But I want to let you know that it's only a process. And if you're able to make it through the process, you'll be able to make it through what God is trying to take you through. In other words, in the 30 numbers of Psalms, it says, weeping may endure for a night. The process may just deal for a night. The sickness may just deal for a night. The financial burden may just deal for the heartache and the pain may just deal for a little while. But they that wait upon the Lord through the process of God shall renew their strength. Shall mount up as wings of eagle, run and not get weary, walk and not faint. And David said it good in the 30 number Psalm, weeping may endure for a night. But if you're able to hold out until tomorrow, joy will come in the morning. In other words, my brothers and sisters, tell your neighbor, all you got to do is get through the process. The process may make you tired sometimes. The process may want to make you quit sometimes. But if you just learn to just cry in the midnight hour knowing that God got your back, worry in the midnight hour but know that God got your back. As long as you hold on to God's unchanging hand, God got a way of getting you through the process. My brothers and sisters, getting ready to leave you now, but I look at David in this portion of text on this day. David said, I waited patiently on the Lord to come and help me. And he turned to me and he heard my cry. Old songwriter says, you can call him up and tell him just what you want. I wonder, is there anybody up under the sound of my voice that just waiting patiently on the Lord? It ain't going the way that I wanted to go. The job ain't going the way I wanted to go. My health is not in the condition that I want it to be in. But you're still saying, Lord, I'm just trusting the process. My finances is not in the way that I want them to be. It seems like I'm trying to get more money out of my check and I can't get it out. But Lord, I just trust the process. Because I know if I just wait on you, that everything will be all right. So David here said he waited patiently on the Lord. I wonder, is there anybody waiting on the Lord? I want you to know that God will come by and see about you if you just wait patiently on the Lord. I know sometimes it may get hard and sometimes you may feel like throwing in the towel. But I'm so glad, my brothers and sisters, that I serve a God that still look beyond all of my faults. Even when I get my own self in a predicament situation and a precarious situation of life. I'm so glad that I still can call on God when I find myself in trouble. He said that he will be with me even to the end of this whole world. And I'm so glad, my brothers and sisters, that when trouble arises in my life, that God still sticks by me when I find myself in trouble. I must be by myself this morning because sometimes I find myself in some places that I don't want to be. Do I got a witness out there that find themselves in some places they don't want to be and wondering how they got there and then start beginning to ask the question, God, where was you at in that situation? Well, I want to let you know, my brothers and sisters, that God is still there. He's there all the time. All you got to do is call him up just like David and tell him what you want. Is it anybody up under the sound of my voice that know that God will come see about you? All you got to do is call him up and tell him what you want. And what I like about David, David said he brought me out of the pit of despair. I don't know about you, but I've been there and I've done that. I don't know if I'm by myself. Sometimes the situation of life can put us in a place where we feel despaired. But I'm so glad that I serve a God that's able to pick me up. The songwriter says if he had to pick way down, Jesus would still pick you up. Is there anybody about the sound of my voice that need to pick you up on this morning? You're dealing with this and you're dealing with that, but I stopped by here to let you know that God will pick you up. And what I like about David, he will not only pick you up, but Because David says, and he'll give you a new song. In other words, when you've been saying you're like a ship that's been tossed and driven by the angry sea, you'll be able to sing the song, trouble don't last always, for weeping may endure for a night. But if you can just hold out until tomorrow, I declare everything will be all right. Is there anybody gonna hold out and trust the process? What God is doing? God has got a message and God has got a purpose. He may not come when you want him, but I declare he's always on time. All you got to do is trust the process. That's all you got to do. Life